Hello, 5th grade. Today we're going to be learning about Earth's gravitational pull. So let's get started. You're down to Earth. The Tennessee Science Standard that we will cover is 5.PS 2.3. It states to use evidence to support that the gravitational force exerted by Earth on objects is directed towards the Earth's center. The learning outcomes that you should be able to do or demonstrate by the end of this presentation is 1. Students will know how gravity works on the Earth and which way objects are pulled in. Number 2, students will understand Newton's universal law of gravitation. Number 3, it should say number 3, but I forgot number 3. So number 3, students will be able to demonstrate how distance and mass affect gravity. So, before we get started, I've gave you 2 sheets of paper, and the first one that we're going to do, it looks like this. You can see it on, it looks like this. It's on the screen. But before we get started, I'd like for you to brainstorm and think about each one of these questions. There's 8 questions. So I want you to read the question and then write circle T for true or F for false, based on which one you think. Now, but I want you to do it in a pencil, because at the end of this lesson, I'm going to want you to go back and read all these questions again, and then you're going to be able to change your answer to the correct answer if you've done it in pencil. So don't do it in pen or pencil or a colored pencil or a marker. Just do it in pencil, please. So important vocabulary before we start, because if you don't know these, then you're probably going to be a little lost throughout the presentation. So the first one is forces, which is a push or pull on an object. The second is gravity, which is the force that attracts a body towards the center of the Earth and the force of attraction between two objects. The third one is mass, which is the amount of matter an object contains. Number 3 is weight, which is the force acting on an object due to gravity. So, you've already started brainstorming on this worksheet. So now we're going to think about a scenario to get your brain really thinking about what we're going to talk about. So, think about the clouds. When you think about the clouds, whenever they get so filled with water, it doesn't just throw the rain down to the ground. Like, it doesn't just throw it. The rain, it builds up that cloud, and it gets so heavy that the cloud can't hold the water, so it falls to the ground because of gravity. Newton's universal law of gravitation. This states that every object in the universe is attracted to every other object by a force called gravity, which is what this PowerPoint is mainly about. So we see this more with huge objects such as the Earth. If you were to take a football and throw it up in the air, but like I can take this pencil. If I were to take this pencil and throw it up in the air, it would fall because the mass of the Earth is huge, and it has this huge, strong gravitational pull that is pulling this pencil down to the ground after I throw it up in the air. Air resistance. A larger, heavy object has a stronger gravitational pull. A smaller, lighter has a weaker. So, it's question time. Which, does gravity act on feathers? Which I should have had this next couple bullets fly in, because you shouldn't see the answer before I ask you for it, but I forgot to. So, if you said yes, then you're correct. So, based on the information that I gave you, just because, and it goes like a piece of paper too, just because the feather is light, which means it's super weak, like the gravitational pull on like a piece of paper or a leaf or a feather, it's super light. So, it can't pull it just like this. These scissors. It pulls these scissors straight down, straight to the center of the Earth. But this paper is going to kind of flutter back and forth because air resistance is picking it up and making it float and do the floating back and forth effect. So on this next slide, I did a video that was a leaf versus a bag of bread. And it shows you the air resistance on the leaf versus the bag goes straight down. So there's a visual for all you visual learners and can't just learn by me speaking to you and telling you the information. Oops. Mass. Mass is very important. So objects with more mass have a stronger gravitational pull. So example, this bowling ball on this slide and this softball. Both are made of matter, so they have gravity, so they're gonna be pulled somewhere. So like if you were to drop it, I mean both of these would fall straight, but the pull on the one with the bigger mass has to be stronger than the pull on the softball. The softball pull is weaker and the bowling ball pull is stronger because the mass on the bowling ball is a whole lot more than the softball is. Distance. Distance is also another factor that gravity depends on. So the gravitational force between two objects decreases as the distance between them increase. So, right here, these dots right here. So you have one here and you have one here. But this is going to be weaker than if they were here and here. This pull is going to be stronger than this pull. So for this example, it's the tennis ball hits the ground first if dropped at 2 feet versus if it was dropped at 4 feet. So that's the same as like this pen and this pencil. So if this pen was dropped up here and this pencil was dropped down here, obviously the pencil will hit first. Here these are two of my nephews' play toys, these balls that spin around this thing, but I use them for this video. So in this video, I dropped one at 2 feet and one at 4 feet. I don't know if you caught it. So the yellow one was dropped, had a less, the distance was lesser than the red one, so the orange or the yellow one, orange-yellow, dropped first because the distance between that and the ground was shorter than the red one in the ground. So, it's foldable time. So I also gave you a sheet. It looks like this. It's also on this slide. So you're going to need the piece of paper that I gave you, scissors, glue, colored pencils, crayons, or markers. So you're going to, on yours, it looks like this one on the slide, but I've already cut mine. So on yours, you have two dotted lines. So you're going to cut on those two dotted lines, but don't cut all the way across. And then you're going to fold them like this. And you're going to glue the gravity part down. So whenever you glue it down, you have these that open up. So you're going to put, what is gravity? What does it depend on? And then examples, but I also want pictures with those examples. So like a picture of the bowling ball and the softball. Make sure you show me that the bowling ball, and then you draw a softball, but make sure you tell me what the mass is of your bowling ball versus the mass of your softball, and why that has why gravity depends on what I just told you. So that would go under depends on. And then be creative and make those pictures and color them And I think that is all I have for you guys. Yes. So, thank you. And then also don't forget to go back to this sheet of paper, and if you want to change any of your answers, you should have done it in a pencil like I told you to. And you can erase them and then change your answers, and then I want that sheet turned into me.